Welcome back to Kuma English Listening Hub. In today's episode, we're going inside a place many people love but few people truly understand: the theme park. We are not just talking about fast roller coasters and long lines. We are going to explore how theme parks design rides to tell stories. At first, this might sound strange. How can a ride tell a story? Isn't it just a machine that moves you up and down or left and right? In fact, modern theme parks think of themselves as storytellers. They use music, lights, movement, and even smell to create an experience with a beginning, a middle, and an end. In this episode, we will look at how designers plan a themed ride, what happens before you even get on the ride, and how parks use psychology, technology, and art to make you feel like you are inside a movie or a different world. So, sit back, relax, and imagine walking through the gates of a theme park. Let's start with a simple idea: immersion. Immersion means the feeling that you are really inside a world, not just watching it from the outside. When a theme park designs a ride, the goal is not only to give you a physical thrill. The goal is to make you believe for a few minutes that you are somewhere else. Think about the difference between a simple metal roller coaster in a parking lot and a carefully designed ride in a famous theme park. The roller coaster might be exciting, but you can see the cars, the highway, and the city around you. You are always aware that you are in the real world. Now imagine a ride where you walk through a castle, or a spaceport, or an old jungle temple. The music changes. You hear special sound effects. The walls are decorated to match the story. The line area is not just a line. It is the first chapter of the adventure. This is immersive design. The story of a ride usually begins long before you sit down. In fact, it often starts outside the building. Theme park planners think carefully about what you see as you approach the attraction. The shape of the building, the signs, the decorations, and even the plants around it communicate the kind of story you will experience. Designers sometimes call this the first impression of the ride. For example, if the ride is about a lost expedition in the rainforest, you might see broken statues, old wooden signs, and overgrown trees. You might hear animal sounds and jungle drums. All of this prepares your brain to accept the story. Next comes the cue, or the line. Most people think of lines as boring, but in modern theme parks, the line is part of the storytelling. Designers use the time you spend waiting to introduce the setting, the characters, and the main problem of the story. You might walk through small rooms with old maps on the walls, notes from explorers, or videos with characters explaining what is about to happen. You slowly move deeper into the story world. By the time you reach the boarding area, you already know what mission or adventure you are going on. To tell a strong story, ride designers often use a basic structure similar to movies and books. There is usually a beginning, where you enter the world and learn the situation. A problem or challenge where something goes wrong. A climax, where the most intense part of the ride happens. A resolution, where things become calm again and the story ends. Let's imagine a fictional ride called Sky Rescue. In the beginning, while you wait in line, you see screens showing news about a city that needs help. A storm is coming and an air rescue team must fly in and save people. You are invited to join this team. At the boarding area, you are told to get into your rescue helicopter. The seats might look like helicopter seats, and the safety instructions are given as if you are joining a real mission. The problem begins when the helicopter takes off. The ride moves, the screen or scenery shows dark clouds, and the radio voice says that the storm is worse than expected. The climax is when everything goes crazy. Maybe the helicopter is hit by lightning. The ride vehicle moves quickly. Lights flash, wind blows in your face, and the music becomes loud and dramatic. You feel danger, but you are still safe. Finally, the resolution. The storm ends, the city is saved, and your helicopter returns to base. The movement becomes gentle, the music becomes soft, and the lights become warm again. The story closes in a satisfying way. This classic structure helps guests feel that they have experienced something complete, not just a random set of movements. Now let's look at some tools that designers use to tell stories on rides. The first is light. Light guides your eyes to the most important parts of the scene. In dark rides where you move through indoor scenes, the room around you might be very dark, but the parts of the set that tell the story are carefully lit. For example, when the main character appears, a spotlight might shine on them. When something scary happens, the lights might flash or turn red. In quiet emotional moments, the lights might be soft and blue. Light is like a language the designers use to communicate mood and focus. Second, sound is powerful. Theme park rides use a mix of music, sound effects, and voices. Music creates atmosphere. A gentle, slow melody can feel magical. Fast drums and strong beats can make you feel excited or nervous. Sound effects such as wind, water, animal cries, explosions, or footsteps make the world feel real. Voices can provide information, tell jokes, or explain what is happening in the story. Third, movement is more than just speed. Of course, a ride can move fast, slow, spin, drop, or rise, but designers connect each movement to the story. If the story says the elevator rope has broken, the ride might suddenly drop. If the story says your spaceship is turning to avoid an asteroid, the ride might twist to one side. These movements are not random. They follow the action of the story. Sometimes designers even use smell. For example, if you pass through a scene with a bakery, you might smell fresh bread. If you are in a forest scene, you might smell pine trees. Smell is a strong sense that helps your brain believe that the world is real. To tell a convincing story, theme parks need more than machines and screens. They need characters and a clear theme. A character can be a person, an animal, a robot, or even the ride vehicle itself. Characters help us feel emotions. If a friendly robot leads you on an adventure, you care about what happens to them. Some rides are based on famous movies or animated films. In that case, the characters are already known. People come to the ride because they want to step inside the film's world and meet their favorite heroes in a new way. Other rides are based on original stories created by the park. This gives designers more freedom, but it is also more challenging. They must introduce the characters quickly and clearly, often using only a few signs, a short video, or some clever scenes in the queue. The theme of a ride is the main idea behind the story. It could be teamwork, courage, exploration, or humor. Even if the story is short, the theme connects the different parts. For example, if the theme is teamwork, maybe the story shows how everyone must work together to solve a problem. The safety instructions, the dialogues, and the final scene might repeat this idea. You might wonder, how does all of this come together behind the scenes? Designing a themed ride is a long and complex process. It usually involves many types of experts. First, storytellers and writers create a basic idea. They decide what kind of experience the ride should offer. Is it scary, funny, emotional, educational, or all of these? Then, concept artists draw pictures of the scenes, the characters, and the environment. Engineers work out how the ride system will move. Will it be a boat, a car, a flying simulator, or something completely new? Architects and builders plan the building. Lighting designers, sound designers, and special effects experts plan how to create the right atmosphere. All these people must cooperate. The story might change to fit the technology, and the technology might change to support the story better. For example, if the story needs a moment where the ride stops to show an important scene, engineers must make sure the ride system can pause smoothly. This process can take years and cost millions of dollars. That is why big theme parks are very careful about which stories they choose to tell. Of course, theme parks also have to think about safety and comfort. If the story is too frightening, younger guests might feel upset. If the ride is too intense, some people might feel sick. Designers must balance excitement with comfort. Sometimes they use clever tricks. For example, on a simulator ride, your seat might move only a small distance, but the screen in front of you shows dramatic movements. Your brain believes you are diving or flying, even though your body is moving only a little. They also give clear warnings before the ride. Signs might say that the ride includes sudden drops or dark spaces. This lets guests decide if the story is right for them. Accessibility is another important part. More and more parks are trying to make sure that guests with different physical needs can enjoy the story too, with special seats, audio descriptions, or separate viewing areas. Theme parks are always searching for new ways to tell stories. Virtual reality and augmented reality are becoming more common. With VR headsets, each guest can see their own version of the world around them. This means that a ride can change its story depending on where you look or what choices you make. Interactive elements are also growing. Some rides allow you to press buttons, aim at targets, or choose different paths. This makes you feel more like a character in the story, not just a passenger. Some parks are even designing entire themed lands where everything, from the food to the shops to the restrooms, fits into the same story world. You don't just ride one attraction, you live inside the story for hours. These changes show that theme parks are becoming more like giant outdoor theaters or living video games where you are part of the action. So, the next time you visit a theme park, try to look at it with new eyes. Notice how the area around the ride prepares you for the story. Pay attention to the sounds, the lights, and the decorations in the queue. Ask yourself, what is the beginning of this story? What is the problem? Where is the big climax? How does it end? You might discover that even simple rides are carefully planned to give you a small story, a clear emotion, or a special memory. Understanding these design choices can make your visit more interesting. It can also help you build your English skills. You can describe the ride using story vocabulary, setting, characters, plot, climax, and resolution. You can practice using adjectives for emotions: excited, nervous, surprised, relieved. You can practice using sequence words: first, then, after that, finally. In a way, theme parks are like live language lessons, full of visual details, sounds, and experiences that you can describe. Before we finish, let's review some of the key ideas from this episode. Modern theme parks see themselves as storytellers, not just ride operators. Immersive design makes you feel like you are inside a different world. The story often begins in the queue, not only on the ride itself. Designers use light, sound, movement, and sometimes smell to guide your emotions. Rides often follow a story structure with a beginning, problem, climax, and resolution. Many types of experts work together to design a successful themed ride. New technology, like virtual reality and interactive elements, is changing how stories are told. Thank you for listening to Kuma English Listening Hub. If you enjoyed this episode, you can listen again and focus on different parts. The first time, just enjoy the story. The second time, pay attention to the vocabulary. The third time, try to summarize the main points out loud or in writing. You can also imagine your own themed ride and describe it in English. What is the setting? Who are the characters? What happens in the beginning, the middle, and the end? You have reached the end of today's listening practice. Keep exploring the world in English, and see you in the next episode.